What's up, everybody? We're going to be getting going here in just a moment. I want everybody, as you pile in, to ask yourself, what are you grateful for today? It may be that you are in profit. It may be that you learned how to get out before a big move to the downside. Maybe you're just grateful that you got sunshine on your shoulders. But let's get our mind right, because that is the internal operating system that makes sure that we can dominate this market. We're going to be getting going here in just a few seconds. And you know what? I'm ready to get in there right now. I'm ready to jump in. So if you're ready to get in at this exact moment, throw a one in chat. Let me know that you are paying attention, because we got some alpha to share with you. I got a special guest coming on today as well, which I'm really excited to introduce to you all. But we have some magic we have to share first. So everybody get involved, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding that bell, and let's get into it. What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Welcome to the BitLab Academy. My name is Kelly Kellum, and I'm here to give you those tools, give you those resources, give you those unbiased looks on the market. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ding the bell. We got to dive right on into what is going on in the market, because it is about to, I don't know, let's go ahead and look at what's going on in the charts. The charts are showing that we are still in basically the same posture. In all reality, we could ignore every one of these lines and just look at what is going on here. The lines are showing us that, no lines at all. What do we see? Price moving up, down, up, down, up, down, up. What is this doing? It is moving money. It is moving capital. It's moving future opportunity from the impatient to the patient. So the question is right now, are you patient or are you impatient? Because what is happening right now is a setup for what I think is going to be among one of the biggest bull runs, the last major real run likely over the next couple of years. Yes, price is still going to continue to the upside, but in terms of the percentage gains that comes in as these new institutions are piling in, as these new regulations are opening up the floodgates, as new countries and corporations are putting Bitcoin on their balance sheets, opening up the awareness of basically something outside of that traditional finance system, outside of that money system that prints to infinity. Right now, we need to make sure that we understand what's going on. So as we are doing this, everybody, if you are here, hit the like button right now for yourself, because you are here ahead of the masses. You are setting up your future. Just make sure you don't get locked in on the 15-minute time frame, just completely confusing the utter hell out of yourself, trying to catch every 3, 5-minute, 15-minute move. Do it with a small allocation of your portfolio. Make sure you're setting yourself up for success. So I'm going to go over a couple things I wanted to cover really quick in the context of what's happening in the market, because we have some really big altcoin news. We're going to be doing some TA. We're going to be breaking down some of your favorite altcoins in the latter half of the show, but we have some context we have to go over now. Then we got a great special guest. So everybody, if you are here, pat yourself on the shoulder, because you are about to get into it with me right now. So let's go ahead and dive into some of those stories. First things first, what is going on with SEC Chair Gary Gensler? He sees Ethereum, ETH ETF, the S1 approvals. Remember, they got the approval for the ETH ETF, but that's not the end point here. That doesn't mean there's ETH ETFs that are out there, there's spot ETFs. They still have that second round where they have to get all these S1 approved, and then officially they can actually be launched and tradable in the various different traditional markets. And remember, regardless of if you're here for crypto and you're all about decentralization, the truth is the majority of people, I think, over the next 15 years, it's going to become more predominantly the majority of people holding crypto into the future are going to be people that are buying through these traditional ETPs and ETFs. And we're already seeing it. There's the Bitcoin held, circulating Bitcoin that's available out there. About 5% or more is already held by the Bitcoin spot ETF holders. And that's in the matter of a quarter and a half of them being launched. So Ethereum also, I think, this is going to be a big deal when it actually does get approved. So he's saying, Gary Gensler says, the ETH ETF S1 approval coming likely sometime in the summer. And I think this is, to be honest, I think this is a non-story. It's nice that he talked about it, but I think all the people that have some sort of good head on their shoulders talking about talking about what's going on in this market and when things are going to happen, have sort of predicted somewhere between 6 and 12 weeks from when the initial approval to when the S1s are approved and then officially launched. So this is nice to see that it's still kind of coming up in the headlines, but let's just not put the cart before the horse here. Now, next thing we want to look at right here, everybody's talking about, if you're in this, if you're following the AI narratives, if you're following what's going on with Fetch and Ocean Protocol and AGIX Singularity Net, they are merging. Today was the day. It's been moved. As you can see right here, moving from June 13th, which is today, to July 15th. So we've got about a month now before this merger fully happens. Now, if we scroll down on here, and again, this is ASI, and if you wanted to know what that stands for, it's Artificial Superintelligence Alliance. So this is going to be that merger between Fetch, Singularity, and Ocean Protocol. And we can scroll down right here. We see July 15th will merge into ASI Token. If we scroll further down, if you're wondering what you need to do, it's right here. Token holders are assured that no action is required on their part at this time. So chill out. We're going to keep you in the know here at BitLab Academy. Shout out to everybody that's in the room. We got 175 people here. Got 30 likes. What's going on? Didn't your mother raise you right? You're getting an absolutely top-notch free content here. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ding your own bell. So let's go ahead and move on, because I want to get into our guest here in a few minutes. So let's talk about it. I just think this is interesting. Biden's SEC suing Coinbase in federal court, arguing it doesn't have a right to exist as an exchange. But check it out. At the same time, the Biden campaign is preparing to accept crypto donations via Coinbase. This is what I'd like to point out. If you don't own Webster's dictionary, this is what's known as cognitive dissonance and absolute corruption and just numbskullery by our administration as it goes. And this further outlines the need for clear regulation, acceptance, and channels for not only our government's perspective on what's going on with crypto and blockchain, but also for corporations to really, not effectively, but wholeheartedly be able to put, whether it's Bitcoin and Ethereum, whether it's further altcoins, etc., on their balance sheets, which, remember, we've seen explosive growth in previous cycles, but that was also with enormously smaller market caps. Meaning, if we want to understand what that means, why does that matter? It went up 12,000% this time, that time it's going to go up. No, it doesn't work that way. Every cycle we have larger, in this case for crypto, we've had larger market caps for the coins that have sort of continued to develop, build communities, and grow into this ecosystem. Now, with that being said, that doesn't guarantee you're going to have the same style gains from previous cycles. Now, the shape will remain very similar, but the amount of growth, it's understood as diminishing returns. The reason why that's important is if you're looking at, for instance, a fib extension, previous cycle, it went through 5.618 or the 3.618. It may not do that this time. It may go a little short. You're going to get diminished returns. Now, there is a case for some coins out there having what's known as a super cycle with a huge amount of capital coming in. But we have to realize that, especially with something like Bitcoin, which is over I don't even know what it's at. Let's actually pull it up. I'm not going to talk out of my butt. Let's look at it. CoinMarketCap.com. Bitcoin right now is at a $1.3 trillion market cap. So that means, have you ever ridden in a canoe? Not that hard to turn. Ridden in a ski boat? I mean, that thing turns on a dime. You ride in a cruise ship takes so much more energy to turn because there's more mass involved. Similarly, the metaphor can be utilized here or understood when we're looking at market caps of assets. When you have a $1.3 trillion asset, you have to have a hell of a lot exponential more monetary energy, because remember, that's what this is all about, the velocity of monetary energy within these ecosystems. Now, on the one hand, everybody wants to say this cycle is going to be different. It's going to be way more explosive than before because we have these new exponential capital channels of money that can essentially now flow into this asset class. But at the same time, we have to realize that the market caps are so much larger that exponential amount of monetary energy is needed just to have something similar than before. Now, I do think that there's a high likelihood that we will get some absolutely explosive growth. But remember, the higher the prices go, Some people will tell you, the maxis will tell you, why would you ever sell? Well, those people are in a different economic position than somebody sitting in the Congo, different economic position than somebody sitting in Section 8 housing, etc. Everybody is coming from a different standpoint and a different time horizon and adjusted risk matrix from their own life. The higher the price goes, there's going to be different type of people that are willing to sell. You know, why are we in this market if we're not trying to attribute it to also living a better life, to taking care of our family, to taking care of ourselves, to taking care of opportunities, buying our first house, buying a car, making sure we can pay for college for our kids? So $140,000, you might look at a chart and say, but the chart says it's going to go up to 220. Whether or not that's the case is irrelevant. The point is, you may say, why would you sell here? And somebody else might have been holding from $3,000 and saying, I'm taking profits here. So at the same time, we also have to realize that along with the higher the price goes, there's new incentive for different buyers and sellers. At the same time, there's also essentially pressures in the market change based on the context of what's happening, not only globally, but within that market. So some people post out a lot, you know, the supply and exchange is very low. Well, that's going to be very adaptable as well, because that supply and exchange is going to also be attributed to people moving coins onto exchange to prepare to sell or not. And also just the pressures even within corporations and the balance sheets of these large players out there. Every single person and every single institution and every single government is unique. And therefore, there's always going to be a rolling and adjustable basis for the incentives of what type of capital is available in these markets. I do want to give a special shout out to our homegirl here in the chat, Alexandra G, always doing all the time codes in here. Everybody give a triple thumbs up for her. It makes it so easy for people when they're watching later to go back and see the different chapters, what's going on. When we're talking about Arculus, our channel partners, when we're talking about Galactics, our channel partners, when we're talking about different coins and which TA is it where, so you don't have to watch the whole thing. I just want to give a special shout out to Alexander G for that. We got a couple more things to cover here for just a few more minutes. And we got our guests coming on. And remember, we got some great charts, some great TA. And actually, let's jump into some of that right now. And then we'll throw it over to our guest here in just a moment. Now, there's a couple things outlining what's going on here in the market. Let's talk about it. Is it bearish right now? Kelly, the thumbnail said bulls ready to run. Well, they are. On the macro sense, this market is setting up to absolutely melt the face of the shittiness of our past and give us new opportunity here into the future if you let it. So when we're looking at this macro setup, this is from Titan of Crypto, we're looking at the Ichimoku cloud. Instead of looking at the cloud, there's a moving average within this called the Tenkan. This is an indicator built Japanese indicator built, which is why it has interesting names, Ichimoku and Tenkan and etc. But what we're seeing here, similar like when we watch the short-term holder cost basis, once we break above this, this has acted as incredible support all the way to the upside. Now look at where we're at right here. We've broken above it. We've got incredible support moving to the upside, found support there. Look at this, boom. And now we're sitting at the exact point that we've talked about for, months and months. We talked about it last cycle when we came up to this level. We talked about it the previous cycle when it came up to this level. So what is there any indication right now to be fearful? The bull run is set up. Right now is a patience game, so you can get paid for your patience. If you're not patient, you don't get paid. That's how this works. So let's go ahead and move on to this next chart. Just remind yourself of this. When you're frustrated, when in doubt, zoom out, baby. That's what we got to do. Now, looking at this next one from Tech Dev, what we're seeing here is the blow off tops only happen after the 4-week Chaikin money flow breaks through this line. So what we're seeing here, okay, does this mean we have a top that's about to break down? I want to challenge each and every one of you to think critically. Use your eyes critically. When you look at any chart, don't take anything for what the metric says. Don't take any YouTube stream for what the title is, what the thumbnail is. What is the context that's actually present? What we're seeing here, look, this is where it broke through. Was this the top? Hell no. This is where it was just getting started. What do you see back here? Was this the top? Nope. This is when the fire is just getting, you're pouring gasoline on the fire right here for the flames just to burn to the sky. And what do we see right here? Oh my God, is it the top? Well, looking historically, we're seeing this is just getting ready to rocket. That does not mean we can't have a 5, 8, 12, 20, 30% pull down from here. Remember, 2016, 2017, we had 8 pullbacks in this move. This looks very smooth, right? This is also zoomed out. This time period saw 8 pullbacks of 26 to 40% between here and the top of the market. So where we're at right now, if there is a move, if there's a flush out, if there's a global economic black swan or something that frightens the market, and we get a move down, realize that is not a moment for fear. That's a moment for opportunity. Now, looking right into this chart right here, if you're wondering if we should be scared, this is the inflows. What do we want to do? Follow those suckers out there that know how to make money. And what are they doing with it? Well, the inflows to accumulation addresses, what do you see? I mean, this was even scaling in back here, but look at this huge exponential increase from really right about where the ETF got approved. This is where it got launched and we had a little bit of a sell-off, and then this large move up, which is, we had a huge spike again right here nearing the end of this sort of formation that we're in. Let's turn on the lines here. See this descending level of resistance right in here. And now we have this rising wedge, which we talked about before the breakdown. The breakdown did come, boom, and we tapped almost to that target. Can we still go down there? It's likely we will. We're going to dive into this and more in just a few minutes, but I also wanted to highlight here the altcoins. Did you know that altcoins have been in a falling wedge for over 3 years now? What do falling wedges do? Takes a long time for something like this to basically get anywhere near an apex or a breakout, but this is coming down. We may not go much further down. We've formed this nice base. And what this is telling us right here, this total 2 chart, which is all the crypto out there minus Bitcoin, basically all the altcoins. Once we can clear this line, it is all systems go, and it's going to leave you if you are not prepared. And then why are we doing this? Right here, the US dollar has consistently depreciated since the 1930s, losing its purchasing power very aggressively. This means that each dollar now buys a relatively smaller amount. I've been talking about this, and I'm going to pepper it in on a daily basis because we need to have an understanding of why we're in certain assets and not in others. In this case, Bitcoin and crypto, but Bitcoin predominantly is that other. It's the other asset. It's the agnostic asset outside of central banks, outside of governments, outside of it's the opposite of the US dollar. And that to me screams buy, because this is the purchasing power of the dollar over, the last 100 plus years. Now, in this case, we have a lot of hope about what's going on. And remember, is the ETFs owning everything? Just look at this chart. 57% individual ownership of Bitcoin. About 17%. This is effectively burned Bitcoin. So everybody says 21 million fixed supply. Well, reduce that by roughly 15 to 17%. That it's Bitcoin that has been lost forever. Now, why would people ever lose Bitcoin? Well, when Bitcoin was 47 cents or when Bitcoin was $1.30, we've seen so many stories of people losing tens of thousands of Bitcoins on hard drives from back when it was something that wasn't on the top of every analyst and every government and everybody's watch list for this new asset, right? Now it's priced at $70,000. There's still going to be lost Bitcoin from people not managing themselves correctly. And because of that, I do want to shout out our channel sponsor here, Arculus. Make sure you protect your crypto. Make sure you have a meaningful way to not only protect your crypto, but protect your future. It's the leading crypto cold storage wallet solution out there. 3-factor, multi-factor authentication with your biometrics, with your PIN, with the actual hardware wallet, the card that you have here with the NFC technology. This is the best cold storage. Head over to getarculus.com and use the code LAB10, LAB10 for 10% off. Now, with that being said, I think it's time. We got to jump in to our guest here. So let me introduce Miss Melina. How you doing? How you feeling? Thank you for being here. What's up?
I'm so excited. You pump up this like show, so I'm obviously pumped as well. I'm so pumped to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, you know what? Thank you for agreeing to do this. You and I met at Consensus, and I tend to be a pretty good judge of character. And I told you, just like Loxley as well, is like when I meet somebody that knows what's going on in the space, when I meet somebody that is passionate and they also are trying to move the needle on education, but also entertainment, doing it in a way that people can actually engage with, it's important for me. And you know what? I want more women in the space as well. And I thought, you know what? Let's get Melina over here in BitLab Academy and talk about some things. So why don't you give us just a brief rundown? What kind of you do in the space and what got you interested in crypto in the first place? Are you a super degen? Are you a Bitcoin maxi? Where are you at?
It's like the $1 million question. So, a little background about me. I live in Canada where our dollar is really at a much worse state right now than the US dollar. But so, yes, I live in Canada. I worked as a TV reporter here in Canada for over 10 years, so very comfortable on camera. And then what really got me into crypto, this is like the opposite of every guy in the space, but my story is that my now husband got me into crypto. Was just like blabbing to me about Bitcoin. So I would say he's the real Bitcoin maxi. And I started my journey with NFTs and Ethereum. And I started this about 4 years ago when the NFT craze happened. And then I had the luxury, I would say, of doing my own homework and my research and figuring out, you know what, Bitcoin is not only the grandfather coin, but it is the coin that is very different from all the other cryptocurrencies out there. And so now I would say I'm sporting a Bitcoin pillow, in my living room.
But you got a
And
Pepe back there too.
yeah, and Pepe as well. So, the journey is very it's like what I would say what gets a lot of people interested is they hear it from somebody else who has a bit more knowledge about it, right? And then I put in that work of the DYOR. I went online, I did my homework, and then I got comfortable speaking about it and honing in my craft. So I'm also a content creator. And that one thing that gets me going and is getting me excited about crypto and everything we're building on this blockchain or all these different blockchains is owning our work. That's like the big one for me. It's that ownership. And so, yeah, that's what got me here. And I'm excited. And, I like to say that women, we want to get more women involved, but we got to speak to them differently. And humor and education is all part of that process. So I'm just hoping to do that as well.
You know what? And you and I had a great conversation the other day when, basically the follow up from Consensus. And I was like, we got to get her into the community because you do a lot of great content, also helping walk people through certain things, how to videos while also engaging with kind of what's going on in the space. So you made an interesting comment, and I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but because this is true for men in some regards, but it's also true for women in that, as we're moving into this space, we need to make sure that, like, if people are linking up to come together to build a community or a support structure, or I want to talk and engage with people that look like me and sound like me, we also have to be open to people outside of that, right? It's open-mindedness, but also connection within the specific communities we're in. But also, like, not have this is a women's crypto thing, but then you only just go and brunch and take selfies. Like, so what would you say? What would you say that we could do to get more women involved with this so it doesn't look like in 10 years that there's some programmed, scheduled, intentional gap that, like, men were doing this and we have all this wealth from this and women are like, oh, is it a risk? Is it a different type of risk appetite? Like, what is it?
You know what? I always say this, but my parents never taught me about finance just because I think, my gut instinct is that I'm a woman, right? And that whole idea of like a man providing for the family is still very, very apparent in 2024. So I would say, like, that to me at the very beginning, when my husband was talking to me about this, I was like, I can't buy this stuff. Like, so I think just setting that intention of understanding that women can also be a part of this conversation. And the other thing too is, is like I was telling you, us women, when I talk to my girlfriends who have no interest in this stuff, I always go back to the Starbucks. Instead of putting that extra $2 foam on your coffee, put $2 into Bitcoin, and see what happens. See if that doubles or not. And we're living in an era now, I think, where young people, and this is going to get interesting as the years go by, but young people enjoy this idea of having 2, 3 jobs, like the side hustles, the extra income stuff. I think my parents never understood that. It was like the 9 to 5, get the job, go to school, right? But we're seeing young people be more open to different things, so I'm hoping that changes the shift. But I think in reality, it really is this concept of women not understanding that they can have a piece of this pie.
You know what? I got to make a comment, man. You're so many people are effervescent in person, and then they go flat on camera. You have such a camera presence. Do you have any history with, news media,
Yeah.
acting?
Yeah.
Like what's your background?
Yeah, so worked over 10 years here as a TV reporter in my city. So very like, the opposite of this, because this is way more fun and engaging. But yeah, just covered, 6 o'clock news. I did it up until the first year of the pandemic. And then just decided, I think for me at this stage in my life, I'm still a young person, but a young person who grew up on social media. And for me, the media is not reaching the audiences that I think I want to start reaching. And so I had to make that shift very early. And so just abandoned 6 o'clock news to just do this online.
Hey,
Reach
you
a
know
wider
what?
audience.
I mean, it's kind of interesting because news and money are very similar in that it's all narrative, right? News, I
Yeah.
can't even imagine, especially in Canada, it's even more strict and shaped
Mhm.
than it is here in the US, where it's like you see a story and you have an opinion about it, but you have to push something because it's in line with the sponsors. And so not only did you step out of the traditional finance world just with your own capital, but also with the media side. So with that being said, let's talk crypto. Let's
Yeah.
talk crypto. Like, what are you excited about right now in the market? I know that you talk a bit about degen stuff. Sometimes you talk about some of the things going on in the meme coin world, but you're also, you also have a lot of focus in terms of portfolio allocation and larger projects. So, what would you say, and would it be different for men and women? What would you say about like what people should be focusing on right now with their portfolios, with how they're engaging with the market? Where do you see us at currently, and where do you see the market going into 2025?
So I would say, in my journey of doing all this research and being like I was being very careful with how much money I was putting into like Bitcoin and Ethereum, the top 2 players in my book. And I would say now what I'm focusing on is understanding that narrative, right? So like you were saying before, now it's dumped a bit, but this is the perfect time to buy. And I think for a long time that was always like the opposite of what I was doing. I was buying when it was at the pico top because I was like, well, now it's going up, so it makes sense. So I think um the knowledge that I've acquired over these past years. And I think, yes, it's great. We can come on these shows and learn about it. But what I would always encourage someone to do is test it out yourself. The only way you're going to learn is if you experience it yourself. So I would say my journey in this space, I would say at this point, I look at Bitcoin as that financial security over my actual dollar right now. So what I, like my whole transition at this point, the government has given me money this year at the end of all my taxes, and I literally dumped it all into Bitcoin months ago. And I told my friends, and they were like, "What do you mean? You're not going to put this into some savings account?" And I said, "No, because that's
This
not going to grow."
it's the ultimate savings account. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This is the ultimate savings account. So, but I would have never done that had I not done these steps. So that's why I think also, I always go back to where I was at the beginning, and I try to incorporate that into my education as well, because I know that, I think for a lot of people still till this day, Kelly, they think, well, now Bitcoin's at $67,000. I got to go put in a full coin. And people still don't realize you could just put $1, a day. You don't actually have to put 67,000 today, right? You can just buy a fraction of that coin or a fraction of a fraction, right? Yeah, so I would say I look at Bitcoin as like my safest bet. Obviously, this is not financial advice, but my safest bet. And then I'm looking at Ethereum right now because I told you before I did the switch. I was all into ETH NFTs, ETH everything. I was like big Vitalik lover, and I was the ETH girl. My husband was the Bitcoin guy. And I would say I kind of reversed. I look at ETH as like a utility, right? I love the whole idea of smart contracts. I like the whole NFT aspect of things. But I still now am leaning towards Bitcoin over Ethereum. But now with the ETH ETF coming, I'm also DCAing into ETH right now.
So it's diversifying into the two different, different types of opportunities that are both outside the traditional system. But interestingly, everybody, we all have to realize this is starting to very quickly be co-opted by that system. And those that get in on a almost like a linear, exponential linear sort of time basis, the further you were ahead of institutions, the better off you'll be. If anybody's out there feeling like you missed the boat, then you haven't looked at the macro chart and you're not aware of how early we are in terms of the adoption here. So with that being said, let's actually talk a little bit about those mid caps, those micro caps, and also, other than Bitcoin and Ethereum, do you have 3 or 4, and we're not going to get into memes yet, but do you have 3 or 4 other crypto projects, like the Chainlinks, the GRT, Near, AVAX, whatever they are, that you're also like, these, I think in this cycle, these are very good things to have allocated in my portfolio?
Yeah, and I even have Polkadot. Polkadot was a huge booth at Consensus, to my surprise, in all honesty. I've been holding on Polkadot for a while now, but saw the big booth, saw the new projects that are working with Polkadot too. So I'm also, honing in on Polkadot, again, DCAing. But yeah, I would say Chainlink, Polkadot, those are the two near.
You're speaking my language.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Who else? I did look at Sui as well. And then it's just meme coins.
All right, so let's talk meme coins. And I do shout out to Polkadot as well. We brought them on as I won't call them a channel sponsor, but a channel partner. Because. And I was on it. I basically try to be as transparent as possible. I'm sharing the altcoin portfolio that I've been building and every move I've been making. And, Polkadot is doing a massive marketing push right now to get the word out about a lot of the different things they're doing. And because of that, in some ways I was forced to really do a deeper dive. And because of the deeper dive, I was like, you know what? I have been sleeping on Polkadot. I moved out a huge portion of my Cardano and rolled it into Polkadot because of what I see through that research. And by the way, everybody, if you haven't seen it yet, head over to BitLab, go to the youtube.com/@BitLab Academy. The homepage, you can see there's a couple Polkadot videos there. I'm breaking down that DOT 2.0 upgrades. And it's not just them. It's supporting their entire ecosystem and the parachains and a lot of the things that are happening. And the future of blockchain is going to be most beneficial to those rails that really build out the interoperability and the connective use cases of this. We can't have 10,000 independent chains that don't interact. We will, but those ones that are most beneficial, like Chainlink, like DOT, so on and so forth, are gonna have, I think, the biggest impact. So, talking about meme coins, Solana has seen just an absolute, it's not even an exponential, it's like a giga exponential boom. And all these tokens it's like 500,000 or more in the last 6 months from these token deployers, pumped out fund. None of them are locked. The 99% or more are launched not on fair launch. Fair launch, for everybody watching, means when it's deployed, there's no allocated tokens for the developers or for the founders. It's like it launches and everybody, even the guy that launches it, has to buy also. So there's not these big pools of stuff that can just get dumped. And that's also OmniSwap, which is something one of our a brother brand of Hit Network and BitLab Academy basically is addressing that by basically having a multi-chain, basically one-click smart contract token deployer on Base and Arbitrum and I think Avalanche and several other coins, Frax, I believe. But you have to be fair launch. So the reason I bring that up is we have all these coins. We have, people make a ton of money on meme coins, and then they just go and somebody tells them about one, and then they go put $7,000 and then it rugs and they go, what happened? Well, one, poor strategy. Two, I mean, we get into all of it. Do you think there's going to be a bit of a reckoning or a pullback in the space or a shift to different practices that's going to change that and also potentially move the attention from the Solana chain? I'm seeing a lot of stuff on Base. What's your context of that meme ecosystem? Because it's been running at its own pace, not like previous cycles. It's just like, hey, we're our own market.
It's literally outperforming anything you see right now. I don't know what's going on, but everyone's having a lot of fun there. So I think that's what's happening. And, in this weird circumstance, because, when we were building NFTs or Bitcoin ordinals, we're talking a lot about communities. But what I'm seeing with these meme coins is people are buying into stuff that they vibe with, right? Almost like a community. So to your point of dumping in the $7,000 in a meme coin, some people are just like, I really believe this is going to go to $1 million or, so there's a lot more, in a weird sense, conviction there. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I just see people loving the meme coin side of things right now. Also, we see a lot on the timeline, and I want people to understand, for every one person that's making a 10x gain, a lot of people are losing money. So, don't FOMO into all of them right now. But I will say there's been some fun ones. You've got Donald Trump, you've got Geo Bowden, politics, politicians out there having fun with some memes. And yeah, to your point with Base. So it's been very interesting to see, because we're seeing Coinbase now becoming the platform for the United States of America, right? And we're seeing Base, which is now a layer 2. And I forgot to also mention Polygon, because I do think they will come back.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up. Polygon, I feel like is kind of, it's like Chainlink and the number of types of partnerships it has, and everybody's kind of, I don't want to say fading, but everybody's kind of like sitting over there in the corner building some magical thing, and their eyes aren't on it. I've been stacking into it.
Yeah, so Polygon, and now you've got Base. So Base is also a layer 2 on Ethereum, which they're preaching cheaper fees, because for a lot of people, I think the switch between Ethereum and Solana right now is just because on Solana the fees are a lot cheaper. So that's why they're not meming and meme coining on Ethereum. But you've got Base now that Coinbase sort of kind of launched. It's blue like Ethereum, and you've got some pretty big Base tokens that right now, I am thinking may go up. You've got like one of the first ones, Brett, that got a little bit of heat a couple of months ago, but they seem to be, they've picked up pretty well. But a lot of these meme coins, I would say, Kelly, it's almost like you had to go in super early to see those 10x gains. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. And it took me some time too to understand that you almost have to buy them at pennies to see those.
I'm so glad you said that, because people, I think, are too addicted to fear and to hope at the same time. They're so scared about what's going on or that they missed the boat that then they see other people have made money in meme coins. They hear one and they drop $3,000 in it thinking that's going to change their life. I know at least 7 people in the last 3 weeks that got in early with, I'm talking as low as $40 and as high as $300, that, over the course of the next week and a half made 16,000, 30,000. I have a friend of mine sitting next to me right now. I'm not going to say his name, but was talking about getting in early on a meme coin. And it went up to like $300,000 in value. But this is an important consideration, everybody, because you see it in your portfolio stat that it's worth this much, doesn't mean that it is worth that much, because you could have $300,000 in a meme coin that you got in very early that then explosively grew. But the liquidity in that meme coin is so low that if you were to sell it, you would essentially drive the price down, because there'd be so much slippage that you may only be able, and not that this is small, but you may only be able to extract 10% of that, $30,000, maybe 70,000. But that's a very big difference from 300,000. And you would be responsible if you did that. Remember this. If you did that, you'd be responsible for wrecking everybody that was buying above that. So you have to pick your horses and do it, spread. I say meme coins, I'm not a big meme coiner. I only recently started kind of getting into a few. You have to scattershot with very small allocations, and the ones that pop will pop, and 90%, 98% of the ones you get will absolutely probably just, you'll lose.
Yeah, and you know what? A couple of weeks ago, there was the GME one on Sol and Base, and for those who don't understand, it was following the stock, the GME actual stock, I guess.
Yeah, Roaring
But
Kitty and all that.
yeah, and then some people actually made more money on the Base one than the Solana one. So sometimes, you know, um, you kind of have to be on all the chains, but then that's a whole other topic. But that one was a specific one, right? A lot of people were hinting that GME Roaring Kitty was going to come back. So people, got in on the Solana one a bit earlier than the Base one. But that one, actually, I just remembered that I did buy into that one. And you know what? I'm not making $300,000 on it. That's another thing too.
Most aren't.
Most aren't.
0.01% are. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, I would say be cautious with meme coins. But like I tell a lot of people, and then we're going to go back to this whole thing about like women, women want to make sure that their money is safe. And then I always refer them back to Bitcoin. That's just where I'm at right now, because I can't fathom going and tell a woman right now, go buy this random meme and stay on top of it and whatnot. A lot of the critiques I get from women all the time that DM me is, I don't have a lot of time. I'm taking care of my kids. I'm cooking, I'm cleaning. And, this requires a lot of like, get in, get out, so if you don't have that sort of bandwidth or time, or, you don't want to wait 3 weeks to see it pump, then I would stay very far away from
So let me pose something to you here. And audience, I want every one of you to get engaged in the live chat right now. If you agree with this question, throw a 1 in chat. Melina, would you be willing, because you seem articulate, we had a conversation offline, it seems like you got a good grasp on this, not only the meme coin space, but also altcoins and the general market. Would you be willing to be a regular guest on the show and also potentially maybe make some content talking about how to navigate this? Maybe, how, some people are like, okay, they know how to Coinbase, they know how to Binance, they know how to go to MEXC, buy, but they see all these people doing meme coins. They're like, what the hell? Dex screener. Okay. What contract to desk? What, can you simplify it for me? How the hell do I meme? How do I navigate other projects? How do I swap? Would you be willing to participate in that and create some content to give a different level of I know some of the people here love me. Some of you guys hate me, but at the end of the day, I'm humble enough to know people want to hear from different voices talking about things with a different lens. And if I can incentivize you to come be a part of the community, I'd love that.
I would love that too. It's interesting because when I first started as well, that was basically the reason why I have this handle, Girl in the Verse. I was, there weren't a lot of women here, and I had 1,000,001 questions. And so I had to do all these things, but I would love to teach people, because that's the number one thing, and a lot of people give this advice like, oh, just go to Twitter. But where and who am I following? Who's, where on Twitter? Who's the right guy? Who's just pumping bags, right? Like who are the right people that I should be associated with? And that takes time to figure those things out. So yeah, of course, it'd be my honor to come and do this.
Well, let's do it. Everybody, again, I appreciate being able to introduce new people that I have a lot of respect for. And it's exciting to sort of build out a team, build out a community, because that's why I do this. I'm okay. I'm sort of, I don't want to say set, but I'm fairly set. I do this because I want to build a community. I don't want people to lose $70,000 in one trade like I did the first time I had $70,000 from trading. Then I went leverage. No, I want you guys to learn from the stupid mistakes I've made, learn the new alpha that I've learned, so you all can have a shortcut in a meaningful way to allow this opportunity to dominate your life. So Melina, I appreciate you. I pulled up your lower third here a couple times just so people can see. It's Melina. You can find her at girl_in_the_verse. Make sure you do it in that exact spelling. There's a lot of fakes for all good content creators out there. Make sure you find the correct one. Melina, we'll have to have you back on. I'll get on with you after the show and we'll talk some more. And again, everybody, hit that high five, drop some emojis in there for her, hit that subscribe button. Anything else you wanted to leave us with? Anything you're working on, anywhere else people can find you?
Yeah, I'm also working on Bitcoin now. It's a very interesting time. We're talking about meme coins. There are also some meme coins called runes on Bitcoin. So I'm also doing some educational content on how to buy runes, how to sell them, how to split them, because we're so early on Bitcoin memes. It's a bit trickier than the Solana meme coins.
We
So
got
yeah,
to integrate that into the
yeah,
academy,
we got to
baby.
integrate.
Let's do it. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your mind. And thank you for the smiles. And I'll get on with you after the stream. Again, I appreciate you being here. Awesome. Well, adios, muchachadita. We're going to jump back into some, not meme coins. We're going to jump back into some TA now. Everybody, again, give us, go give Melina a follow at girl_ in the verse. She's a great resource for you. Shares a lot of great content. We're going to be having some more content, having some more content from her here in the academy, both in the Discord academy section, but also here in on the live streams that we're doing here on YouTube. But we got to talk about some of these levels. I know it's great to talk context. I know it's great to talk, the outlook of what's happening, but what's happening today with this market? What are we looking at? Let's go ahead and reload the liquidation level map right here. And we can go ahead and talk about what is going on with where we need to be paying attention to these price levels. This is Bitcoin zoomed in. Look at all of this heat up here. It's getting hotter and hotter, baby. And what we're seeing is that essentially the shorts, as they've come down, are piling up with a lot of liquidations, a lot of liquidity that is above us right now. Now, this does not mean price cannot continue to the downside, but what we want to look at is this right here. I've been sharing this the last couple days, all the way to, remember, let me just go back here. Some of you are new here. Some of you don't watch every day. I just want to just special shout out a little bit, pat myself on the back, but also all of those of you that are following me. I'm sharing content that I really, sometimes it's contrarian, but it keeps you in the know because I'm looking at the data. I'm not responding to the emotion. This right here. Let's actually go to this chart right here. June 5th. I'm super bullish on Bitcoin. Caution here for whipsaw, meaning price maybe flush to the downside because of the high amount of open interest ticking up with a lot of longs. I was talking about a potential move to the downside because of this is June 5th. And we also talked about this being very high with where the price was and a likely washout because of this positive delta here with the price movement sweeping to the downside to clear some of this liquidity. And then the next, about 2 or 3 days after that, I shared this chart right here. This was June 7th, talking about this rising wedge. Not only the rising wedge, but also if we do reject here, which is this sort of midterm resistance line, that we're looking at a move, maybe not all the way to, but towards this $65,000 level. Again, we talked about that, all the liquidity, all this emptiness here, but then the liquidity directly below us. And what do we see where we're at right now? Price didn't have that breakdown. It swept down, didn't quite get to 65, but came right almost to the low 66s, bounced back up, chop people out. So whipsaw down, back up. It's like shaking a rope, shaking your ass off if you do not have a strategy in mind. If you're held hostage by your emotions, then you are here in this market to provide liquidity for somebody else's second boat, third boat, or fourth vacation home. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to make money, and I want to I can help make all of you make smarter decisions to make money. So all of this was pointing to this move to the downside. Now we had this rotation right here on the momentum wave suggesting that move up. We got it, but we cannot clear this level. I talked about this 2 days ago, 2 days ago, and now we got rejected because we couldn't clear it. Now we're still in a somewhat bullish stance, potentially, if we hold this level. This level is basically setting up for a giant W, basically double bottom formation if we hold this level, and then potentially moving up from here. But we have to contend as we move up. We're contending with 67.5, which is where all this price level is. Then contending with this level right here that has been a key level. This is where we bounced right here. And this is also, look, we rejected here and we got rejected here again. We're looking at basically 67.5, 68.5, basically 68.4. And if we clear that, I think the move past this will give us a much higher likelihood for price action once we get up into this zone, the 69.70 zone. And then ultimately the main level we're watching is this downtrend resistance that we're getting right in here that we've already rejected 1, 2, 3, 4 times on. This is going to be the move if we can push it up. But there's something important we have to look at that's not just this mid time frame, what's happening in the next 3 minutes. What is the bigger setup? Always ask yourself, how does a smaller time frame, the mid time frame, and the larger time frame setup, how do they correspond with each other? The larger the time frame setup we're seeing will give us a pretty good indication. Now, if we let's go to a naked chart actually, BTC USD Bitstamp. I don't think, yeah. So here we go. Let's turn off the volume. And what do we see? What shape do we see? What is brewing here? An extremely bullish signal is brewing here if we allow the chart to tell us rather than our hope or fear. We got a large move. Now we have a larger move to the downside. And then now what do we have? We have basically a smaller move. Again, what shape is that? That is an inverted head and shoulders. Large bearish attempt, bulls bring it back. Much larger bearish attempt, bulls bring it all the way back. And then a smaller bearish attempt. Now what this would mean is if we draw a trend line across like here, and by the way, just shout out because we got a lot of new people here on a regular basis. If you want to draw this quickly, you don't need this toolbar over here. Click on the chart. If you're on Mac, press Option T, click once, move your mouse, click twice. Option T on Mac gives you that trend line immediately without having to go to the toolbar. If you're on a PC, Alt T. So you press Alt T, click once on the chart, that starts the trend line, click again, immediately you have a trend line. Same thing with the fib, Option F or Alt F, and then you click, move your mouse, click again. That's how you can do an immediate shortcut key tools on here. So let's measure this out now. Option T, measure it down to the deepness of this head. Now we basically measure this out from the breakout point. This is giving us a target up here in the basically $90,000 range. Now everybody sees this and goes leverage long because I want to front run it, only to have this wash out to the downside to flush them out, liquidate them, and then the price snaps back and goes to where you saw the target in the first place. This period of time right now, unless you are a professional trader, is not a time to be leverage trading. Let the market, let the narratives define themselves, and part of that is going to take patience on your part. As this is setting up, this is still very bullish. In fact, if we come over here to the Bitcoin strategy platform, we also saw we had a huge outflow, an outflow of Bitcoin, and then a huge outflow of Bitcoin. And then yesterday, there's a lot more buying that's happening. But when we're looking specifically at the levels we want to look at, come over here to short-term holder cost basis. Where are you at? Short-term holder. There we go. We talk about this a lot, but we've got to talk about it because this is very important. There's two very important levels I want to point out. Even right now, even if price moves down, we're still super bullish when price is above this. If we test down into essentially 64,000, 63,800, that's the short-term holder cost basis. But we have seen some deviation. So is there another level below we can look at? Yes, there is. If we come over here to, where is that other one? Key levels, cheat sheet, dashboard. If we come over here to key levels and we go turn off short-term holder cost basis, turn off 21-week moving average, it's this level right here, the 200-day moving average, which is, especially in traditional markets, a very important indicator to pay attention to. So we have a zone that's still bullish all the way down to $55,000. So if we get a flush out, let's not be worried. I'm talking about risk management considerations here, but I'm still leaning more bullish. But we have to be aware of those further downsides. Not only is it the short-term holder cost basis, it was at 55. Look, we have this basically next zone down in here where this was basically 52, 53. Now we have that short-term holder cost basis. Basically, look at this, roughly about where this range low was. So just know that when you consider about where price potentially could go to the downside. Now, when we talk about this target, what did I do first? I showed you a bullish target. What did I follow that up with? Okay, this is bullish, but let's not go and just throw our money bags out here for somebody else to take it so they can buy their 7th vacation home. You're here to get your first vacation home. Let's be smart about this. 99% of people in the world that have money, they didn't get it overnight. When the people that did get it overnight, like lottery winners, something like 85% of them end up being bankrupt in 3 years, 5 years, something like that, because they don't know how to manage their money. Now, this isn't about money management, right? No, it goes back to how I started the show with gratitude. It goes back to being thankful for a position here, to even have a dollar to invest in a market, to even have the awareness of this asset class. So don't think you're going to jump in and be rich next week because you've made 3 spot trades. And so now you leverage long your entire life savings that you just roll into Bitcoin to have it wiped out. Let's look at this, know it's bullish, see that we have a target, but then be aware of a bearish scenario so we have a plan in place regardless of what happens. Because those 2%, 5% stacks, daily basis, weekly basis, whatever it is going to have a hell of a lot more impact and likelihood of you succeeding in this market than if you're swinging for 140% move profit every time you take a trade. Mark Dutch says, "Damn, Kelly is Picasso." You look at this beautiful structure here. I learned this in art school. This is the same way I draw my what do you call it? Self-portrait. But where's everybody else now? I'm just checking in with the live chat here. Coinbase is down. Why? Are we getting some movement? 66666. Look at that. Golly. So it might just be regional. But shout out everybody. Also shout out Crypto Pollo. I love hearing him talk over at Crypto Billies and the Giver's Gain NFT series discussions around Bitcoin and life and giving and learning how to just be great people. Shout out to Crypto Pollo 1 for that. And all the members here. If you're a member, drop some emojis there in the live chat. We do have, I just want to shout out, we got a couple more things to look at, but we do have a member stream today at 2:15. If you're a BitLab member here on YouTube, you're going to be able to get the link for that. But I just want to shout out that because sometimes I don't think people know about it sometimes. Come right here. If you're a BitLab YouTube member, if you're not, click the join button. It's like $5. You get access to the private member streams. And if you are a member, or once you become a member, come here to community and you see that members only. You'll get access to that. You'll get the link because we do it through an unlisted link on YouTube. But today I've got none other than this fine gentleman right here, Kevin Svensson, one of my favorite analysts. I learned a ton of TA from him early on, about four or 5 years ago, when he was, he was one of the only crypto YouTubers back then. And this is the chart that I'm always sharing. He's a great analyst, super smart guy. This was an interview that we did just together there at Consensus. If you wanted to peek into this, we were all talking, but he's going to be on that member stream today talking about how to set levels, what his strategy is for identifying what's going on in a trend so he can trade effectively. So make sure you check in for that. If you are a BitLab member, again, head over to right here on BitLab Academy, come to community. You'll see that link. And I also identify these in the BitLab Discord up here where it says events. Just go there. You can click interested and just let people know you're there. And you'll also get notified in the members chat area. I'll be posting that link. So special shout out for that. Now, before we go, we got to look at a couple things because ASI, their date got bumped. So what does that mean for Fetch? What does that mean for Ocean? What does that mean for AGIX? Are we going to get a little bit of speculative dip? Well, look at this, 12 hours. We are getting that move. When did that news come out? It's right here. This was, let's see what date this is. Exit, where's the date? At the bottom? Date was yesterday, 10:28 p.m. So let's go. Where did that chart go? So look at this. We got the breakdown now. And not only was it the news story, did the news story send this down, or did this bearish pattern, look at this, rising wedge, did this bearish pattern, see that? It's a rising wedge. Did this bearish pattern that had weaker and weaker bullish impulses signal that price was going to move down? It's not always the news story's fault. It was brewing in the chart before it happened. So now we have a breakdown with a little bit of a bear flag indicating that we do have a potential for the price action to essentially move all the way down here to the $1.08 region, which is, look at this. Let's draw a box. You always want to look at a target and is there confluence? Well, let's square up the box and drag it left. Oh, look at that. That's where the last level of support on the chart is. So there's an indication, if you like Fetch, if you like Ocean, if you like AGIX, and you see a chart like this, and we just got the delay, let's go ahead and look for an opportunity to potentially DCA in over here as the price is kind of hurting from that news story or from the fact that it needed to correct in the first place. What does Ocean look like? Do I have Ocean on here? Ocean Protocol. Similar. I mean, look at that. Same chart. Same chart. Exact same chart. And where's the next level down? Right here, about 57 cents. Option J. And so let's see the measurement now. So measure, boom, to there. Let's go ahead and drag it out. So similar. There's a little bit of a front running there of where that target would be. And then, of course, what was the other one? AGIX. AGIX. So, I mean, look at these charts. I mean, they're trading on the same news now. So it's looking like we may have some opportunity lower if those markets continue to pull down. Now, going back over to Bitcoin before we roll out of here. Again, by the way, we got 200 people in the room, 222 people in the room, something like that. 91 likes. Everybody hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell, show some love for all this energy our teams put together to bring you this content, to make sure that you have a good idea of what's going on. So you have the tools, you have the resources, you have the community. I just want to point out Bitcoin Dominance right here, BTC.D. Everybody's waiting on their altcoins to rip. The setup is still there. Bitcoin Dominance, the last times, why is this so big? There we go. The last times Bitcoin has pushed up into the zone and pulled down, this was the massive altcoin rally right in here. What do we see here? Pushed up into this. Bitcoin's been outperforming. Look at this rounding top into a multi-year downtrend from this dominance. Who cares about dominance? If you want to make it in this market, you understand these contextual signals. This means more money is flowing into, if dominance is going up, more capital is favoring Bitcoin. Meaning as a whole, Bitcoin is likely outpacing the majority of altcoins. When the dominance is peaked and you see the dominance falling, this means that there's more capital in the market going towards altcoins. So what do we see right now? Pushing up, lost this trend line. This is rounding over. It's showing weakness at this level, triple top now. So this is signaling, unless we get some, huge impulse on Bitcoin, this is signaling that we're likely maybe getting an altcoin move here in the near future. So everybody keep your head up, be smart. We're at a $2.43 trillion market cap. Things are looking good. Things are feeling good. The market is here for us, giving us opportunity if we let it. Again, shout out to Miss Melina from @GirlInTheVerse for being here with us. And everybody, become a member right now if you haven't here on the YouTube. I got the link in the top of the live chat right there. We still have 15 days free for the BitLab Academy, as well as a 33% discount for life here at lab.bitlabacademy.com/deal. And you've seen that as well right in here. Where is it at? Boom, popping it up. I don't know why it's not popping up. Let's see if it'll pop up. Boom, there it is right there. That's the link. You also see it on the screen as we pop out. Thank you again to our channel partners, Arculus, best cold storage wallet out there, and our other channel friends and partners, GALACTIX. Make sure you head over to galactix.io. The best reimagining and reinvention of what crypto gaming can be, Web3, RPG style game. It's incredible. I have some more content that I'm going to be doing on that here in the coming week, releasing for you guys. So check that out. I love you guys. That's all I got. Adios, muchachos. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for always tuning in. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for being a friend. Hit that like button, sucker.